In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a calendar using DAX and Power BI. Here I'm using the Northwind dataset. I have a few tables already set up with relationships between each other. And so we're going to add a calendar table. And so we're going to come to report pane and we're going to come to modeling, write a DAX expression to create a new table. So we're going to call this calendar equals, and now we're going to start off with some variables. So I want to use the calendar auto function, which is a table function that scans your entire model for all the date columns, and it gives you back a calendar with the first date and the last date that it sees within your date columns from your model. But first, I'm going to create some variables. So I'm going to call this min year equals year. I'm going to use the year function. Then I want the min function of my orders date column. So my orders date is, maybe it's easier if I just type in date, and that'll give me back all the date columns. So yeah, so orders, the orders table has the order date column. I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to close out with a couple parentheses. Then I'm going to create another variable with max year. So this will give us our end date. Min year will give us the start date. Max year gives us the end date. So I'm going to do a similar variable here with the year function, then the max function. I'm going to find that orders date column, close out. So there's my two variables. Now I'm going to return and use my add columns function, which accepts a table as its first argument. And then after that first argument, the following arguments are a name and an expression for additional columns. So the table I'm going to give it, I'm going to use the filter function to tell it I want to use calendar auto. And I'm going to close out that calendar auto with the closed parentheses. And then I'm going to tell it that I'm going to tell it I want to use the min year and the max year as my start and end date. So I'm going to do year. I'm going to pick date. I'm going to say that has to be greater or equal to my min year. So greater or equal to the min year variable that I created, and the year date also needs to be less than or equal to my max year. So that variable that I created there. So this will be the table in your add columns function. And the reason why I want to do that is because I don't want the calendar auto to scan through all the dates. In this case, I want the calendar auto to use the start and end date of my orders date column, right? If I don't do that, then it's gonna use the delivery date and any other date column that's in the model to come up with a start and end. But I want to be specific and tell it use this use the first order date as my start date in the calendar, and use the last order date as my end date in the column. And once I give it that table in the add columns function, now I can add additional expressions. So I can do stuff like, maybe let me indent, can do things like give my next column a name and then give it the expression. So year, date, comma, maybe I want to do month number, missed the parentheses, month function, date, this will give me the month number, close, and let's say I want to stop there, right? So you can continue on adding additional columns. Let's see. So looks like it worked. Calendar, table here. If we go to our table view, we can see the calendar data right here. So I have my date, right, starting January 1st, 1996, and then should go all the way to 1998 because that's the last year in the order dates column. Yeah, 1998. You have my year column, month number column here. So this is how you create, this is one way you create a calendar table. I just did it this way because I want to be specific with the start and end date. And also with the add columns function, you can just copy this expression into another Power BI file. You could probably have like maybe 10, 15 columns here. And it just makes it easier versus if you used the calendar function, which is different from calendar auto, and then you're creating calculated columns for your calendar, right? So that that'll take you more time to copy that calendar in another Power BI file, and then you have to redo the calculated columns. Here, I can just copy this entire code into another Power BI file, and I'll have all my additional columns that are not calculated columns in this case. So I hope you found this helpful. Please subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments.